Ravens lose to the Bills 41-40, and another blown lead, another bunch of conservative defensive play calling, terrible defense, honestly. Credit to Josh Allen, credit to the Bills. I'm not saying that they didn't earn it. They went out there and balled, and it was a back and forth game, but come on, man. You score 40 points on offense, you should win. We didn't get any turnovers again. There's a lot of things I want to talk about in this game, so let's just dive into all the negative things, and then we'll talk about a lot of the positive things at the end. But I know no Ravens fan wants to hear that. I don't even want to talk about it right now. I had a whole video. I was taking notes throughout the game, and in the fourth quarter with like 4 minutes left, we got a 15-point lead, and I'm like, all right, Derrick Henry just ran for a big touchdown. I'm like here making a positive video, essentially, a couple things to complain about, and all of a sudden the entire game flips, and defensive play calling gets very conservative. I'm not saying the Bills didn't have some plays down the field, but we were playing a very different style of defense up until the midway through that fourth quarter. Once we had a 2-score lead, all of a sudden it's keep everything in front of you. And I get that mentality, keep everything in front of you, but you just went away from everything that was working all game, basically. And not that we were shutting the Bills down. I mean, the pass rush wasn't great. There's a lot of things that I didn't love. Jair Alexander didn't have a great game. We're going to talk about these things in more detail. But regardless, the play calling got very conservative, and the Bills were just able to chunk their way down the field and get some points on the board. And then the Ravens offense obviously needed to get a little bit of drive, take some time off, maybe get more points. But uncharacteristic fumble from Derrick Henry, who had an absolutely insane game, looked unstoppable, was unstoppable until he fumbled the ball. And I'm not putting this game on him, but that's a big part of it because the Bills instantly score again, and now they're down 2. And then we can't get another first down. Shout out to the Bills defense at the end of the game, but I just think the play calling was very conservative. And I would have went for it on 4th and 3 at the end of the game. And I know that's an aggressive move. And yes, if you don't get it, the Bills are in field goal range. But the defense was just out there for a few drives, letting up points, and just weren't having a good game, man. I didn't trust the defense at that point. That was way too much time to give Josh Allen the ball back. I felt like the offense needed to run the clock out there. I literally was saying it. I was like, man, if we don't get this first down, they're going to march down the field and kick a field goal. I just knew it was going to happen. It was happening for multiple drives before that. And as Ravens fans, this is not new. This is not new at all. I swear, man, we have 2-3 score leads, and we just get so conservative, and the other team just easily marches down the field, gets some quick points up, and then what happens on offense? We can't get a first down anymore. So I would have went for it on that 4th down. It obviously is what it is. John Harbaugh decided not to go for it, and John Harbaugh deserves some blame for the consistency of this happening. Obviously, Todd Monken and Zach Orr are the ones calling the plays, but I know this is Harbaugh's philosophy because this has been happening for years now. It's not just Todd Monken and Zach Orr, although all the coaches deserve some blame for that meltdown. Derrick Henry deserves some blame for the fumble for sure. Tyler Luke missed the extra point that would have tied the game. He had a great game, though, other than that. I mean, Jair Alexander, I think, had an awful game. Seriously, man. He wasn't even in a ton. Shout out to Awuzie. Awuzie was playing really solid, but he had that huge pass interference call that led to points in the third quarter. It was on 4th down. Josh Allen threw one deep. Jair gets called for the pass interference. And then on the last drive, Jair led up a 30-yard pass to Palmer, and then Keon Coleman's running to the end zone. We should have just let him score. That runs the clock out to be able to kick a field goal. Kyle Hamilton almost blocked that field goal, which obviously would have been electric and insane, but I don't even want to talk about what almost happened because it didn't happen. We lost the game by 1 point. And there were so many things, that go into that, obviously, for both sides. I mean, it was an insane game overall, and I don't want to suck the life out of the game. I'm a Ravens fan, man. I'm emotional about this, and I don't feel good after a loss like that. And I'm filming this right after the game, so tomorrow I know we'll probably have a bunch more different information. We'll be able to watch the film. These are my initial raw thoughts right after the game. And I'm not happy, man. I'm not happy that this happened again. There's a long list of games that the Ravens have lost just like this. And I don't want to suck the credit away from the Bills either, man. Josh Allen played outstanding. Outstanding. He was able to keep so many plays alive. And the whole game, I'm like yelling at our pass rush, but I really think it was the strategy of the pass rush. They were trying to keep Allen in the pocket, therefore not rushing aggressively. I thought at one time Mike Green got around and rushed very aggressively and made a great move, but Allen just boom hit the lane and is able to extend the play and find somebody downfield because we over pursued. So I do understand the strategy of being careful with over pursuing a guy like Josh Allen, but I just felt like the pass rush wasn't able to contain him either. The whole strategy is to contain Josh Allen, but you're not containing him. So credit to Josh Allen. This dude's unbelievable with keeping plays alive and hitting guys downfield. And I just feel like this defense laid an egg, man. I did not expect the defense to play like this, and I didn't even feel like they played that bad until towards the end of the game. It was just stacking up, and then those last few drives were just ultimately conservative play calling, keeping everything in front of you, and that just backfires, man. I think that we got enough talent to just stay playing aggressive throughout the game. Forget this, keep it in front of you, man. That's when you got Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson out there who are letting things over their head constantly. The defense needed a better game plan overall, especially at the end of the game, and they just needed better execution. I did not expect the defense, this upgraded defense. I made a video a couple days ago when I was doing the game preview, and I was talking about how excited I was for this upgraded secondary, and I think Awuzie played great, man. I thought he was out there really tackling, playing physical like a Raven, great in coverage. Almost had that interception. Nate Wiggins had a nice couple pass breakups as well. Jair didn't have his best game, but I know it'll only get better from here. He's missed the last month of training camp. He just came back to practice this week. And I know that he wasn't fully integrated because he wasn't out there a ton. And unfortunately, when he was out there, they were kind of going at him and he wasn't making the best plays. But I do expect a better, a bounce back game and year from Jair Alexander. I'm not beating him up as a player overall, just not his best game. I'm sure he'd say that too. And I just expected this defense to play way better than they did. So I'm definitely disappointed in this defense. The offense puts up 40 points and you don't win. That's crazy. And once again, they get no turnovers besides the Kyle Hamilton interception on the 2-point conversion that he pitched back to Van Noy. Thank God he got out of the end zone, or that would have been a safety. But no turnovers from the defense, man. It just can't happen. It can't happen because then the offense has to play perfect. And the offense played pretty perfect until the Derrick Henry fumble, and look what happens. You end up losing the game. And I'm not blaming this whole game on turnovers. I think this is a very different narrative and blames to be placed in different places than just turnovers. The playoff game was mainly turnovers. We had 3, they had 0. In this game, it was 1-0. But I'm kind of putting this on the defense because they need to create some turnovers. This defense is stacked, man. It's stacked, but stacked on paper. And they didn't go out there and play consistently all game for 60 minutes like the Ravens defense should. And after last year, I know the back half of last year, the defense was balling, but I'm not confident, man. I'm just not confident that we can stop people when it matters. I'm not confident that we can sustain offensive drives at the end of games when it matters. It seems like the offense goes nuclear, balls out, scores a ton of points, racks up a ton of yards, and all of a sudden the defense gets real conservative, and then these other teams are just slinging right down the field. All of a sudden the offense gets the ball back, go 3 and out, defense tired, gassed, playing conservative again. There goes the other team, scores again. Now we're in a tight game. Offense can't get a drive going again. It's like, how do you drive so well all game, and then when it matters most at the end of the game, when you really need a long, sustaining drive to run the clock out, you can't get it done. You're going 3 and out. The play calling gets weird. I think that's what it really is. I mean, yes, there's execution on the field by the players that needs to happen as well to follow that up, but the play calling gets a little weird. It gets conservative. It gets safe, and it obviously doesn't work. I mean, almost every time we have a lead, the team comes marching back. I don't feel like any lead's safe. There was 4 minutes left in this game. We had a 15-point lead, and I must be stupid because I did start to feel a little safe. I really did. In the moment, I'm like, man, like Henry had just broke off another big touchdown run. I'm just like, even if they score again, we're going to be able on offense to get a drive going. Henry's running all over him. Lamar Jackson was making great decisions all game, had some strong runs, got out of some craziness, was hitting Zay consistently down the field, especially in the second half when the Bills went a little bit more base and brought in another linebacker to try and stop the run. All of a sudden, the pass game opened up. Zay's going crazy. I mean, Lamar had an incredible game today, man. He was dueling. And Henry had an incredible game. This offense had an incredible game. Unfortunately, Henry fumbled, and the defense didn't get any turnovers. The fumble came at a terrible time, and the Bills end up scoring twice in a row real fast, and they're right back in the game. And I just think if the offense could have had a sustained drive at that end of the game, we would have just ran the clock out, and this never even would have been a case. But it's too common that it all starts to fall apart and mistakes start to happen at the end of these games. It's just like mental block. It's coaching. It's just a nasty combination until we get over the hump of consistently doing it. But to be a great team, to beat other great teams, the Bills are a great team. And to beat other great teams consistently in these big moments, you can't melt down like that. You can't be conservative. You got to put teams away. The Ravens were in too many positions in this game to put teams away. And like I said, there's blame to go around everywhere. I'm venting. I'm all over the place. I'm just emotional after that loss, man. I'm not happy about this at all. And I know it's just one game. It doesn't define the season by any means. The Bills got a cake schedule. They'll probably have a higher seed, whatever. I don't even care, man. I know the home field's kind of important and maybe a bye is important, but it is what it is for me. I'm more worried about the Ravens figuring out how to get over these humps. How to get through these moments. When the game is tight, it actually wasn't even tight. When you have a lead, how do you put the team away? Because we can't seem to do it. But enough ranting about the negatives. I know that's what's on most Ravens fans' minds right now, but I do want to highlight some bright spots from this game on our side because there was a ton. We scored 40 points. There was a lot of amazing moments in this game, and it's definitely going to be overlooked because we blew another lead, but I don't want to overlook it. I ranted for however many minutes about the negatives, so let's look at some of the positives from this game. I thought Kyle Hamilton had a great game. He was flying around everywhere, blowing up screens, blowing up checkdowns, playing deep, pass breakups, almost blocked the game-winning kick. He had the interception on the two-point conversion. I mean, Kyle Hamilton was balling today. Zay Flowers had a strong game, 7 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, you just can't ask for much more than that. I want to highlight that one-handed DeAndre Hopkins touchdown. I know he wasn't heavily involved in this game, but those are the plays we need from a DeAndre Hopkins, man. Like, that was such a clutch catch. Big touchdown score. Well, the offense is just rolling on all cylinders at that point, and I think that's DeAndre Hopkins' role in this team. Just go out there, make a big play, get a big touchdown, get a big third down conversion. He doesn't need to have a ton of volume, but he stepped up in a big way when his number was called upon. Shout out to DeAndre Hopkins. Shout out to Derrick Henry. I know he had the fumble, but 18 carries, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 9.4 yards a carry. Lamar Jackson had a great game, 14 of 19, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, had 6 carries for 70 yards on the ground and another rushing touchdown. One guy that was surprisingly quiet in this game was Mark Andrews. I just was kind of with everyone else. I thought he would at least get a touchdown. I thought they were going to force feed him a touchdown just because of what happened the last time we were in Buffalo. But he had 1 catch for 5 yards. I mean, Lamar wasn't even throwing to the tight ends at all. He was really only throwing to Zay and running the ball. And we put up 40 points. I mean, I'm not complaining about the decisions of where the ball went. I just thought I was surprised that Mark Andrews wasn't a little bit more involved. Matabike ended up having the lone sack at the end of the game. I didn't think he had the strongest impact game. Like I said, the whole pass rush, honestly, just wasn't putting enough pressure on. And if that was the game plan to try to contain him and not overrush and put a lot of pressure and just kind of stay back to make sure that he doesn't go anywhere, well, you failed at that too. So I'd rather just pinned our ears back and went after him, but it is what it is. Matabike ended up having a sack. Travis Jones was dominant in stopping the run earlier in that game. He single-handedly stopped a drive himself with back-to-back blown-up runs. Overall, we contained the run game, but that's because we had a lead for a lot of the game, and they were throwing a lot through the air. So, I mean, who knows? I think defense still let up 41, so not a great day. That's pretty much all I got to say about this right now. I know we'll talk about this game for the next few days and then turn our attention to Cleveland. I definitely want to go back and watch a little bit of the film, see how the offensive line played. I know Fa'alele and Rosengarten had a couple bad reps, but overall, I thought the line was solid, at least from a TV standpoint. It's always different when you go back and watch all the individual reps, but I didn't think it was glaringly bad. We got the run game going. It looked a little bad early on. Ed Oliver blew Fa'alele up on that one play, and Roger Rosengarten. I think Ed Oliver blew Roger Rosengarten up, too, to stop a Derrick Henry run in the backfield. I saw a couple obvious bad reps, but overall, I mean, you can't complain about the line that much when you're running for that many yards and you're having that much offensive success. But interested to go back and look. I don't like diving in deep first reaction to the offensive line because I always end up having a different opinion when you go back and watch the film. So I'll go back and watch this game. But these are my initial thoughts, initial reactions. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. Where are you placing the blame? What can the Ravens do to be different? Does this even matter? It's only week 1. I don't know. How you guys feeling, man? Let me know. But I appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the Flock Rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.